Hello, everyone. I don't know who remembers this, but years and years ago, I don't even remember when, there was it was called Me Too movement, and it was, I believe, to bring attention to anyone that had, or to bring attention to the subject matter of anyone having been sexually harassed or treated wrongly sexually by someone. And I never chimed in, just because I was like, I don't need other people to know. And bringing attention to it seems to make it sit bigger in your head. And I was at a place where I wanted to forget. Everybody deals with things differently. Well, today I was reminded in a very crashing down over me way. We were at church, and this older gentleman who's I don't know if he's considered a greeter or I don't know what his title is, but he helps people find seating, and he also greets people. He says thanks for coming, whatever. Well, it's probably been months ago. The music was already going. We were standing and we were singing, and out of nowhere, this gentleman comes to the row right in front of us, and he leans over the chairs and he pulls me towards him and gives me a hug. And then he stepped back and he smiled, and then he just walked off. And I was puzzled. I was like, I don't know him. I don't ever remember meeting him, which is possible. I have met him, and he was like, oh, hey, there you are, and saying hi. I really don't know. But then this morning, me and Amy were walking in, and he comes over and he hugs me, kind of a side hug, which, again, I'm a hugger, but I'm also very picky with my hugs. Like, if I don't know you and I don't lean in like I want to give you a hug, I'm very against someone forcing me to hug them. So when he did it, I kind of pulled away, and I didn't say anything, but he said, you look like an athlete to me. Are you an athlete? And I said, well, I used to be. And he said, oh, I could tell. And that was all he said. And so we walked. We didn't need him for seating because there were plenty of wide open seats, but we went and sat down, and it didn't sit well with me, because part of me was like, why are you looking at me? Why? I mean, for you to look at me and think that I must be an athlete, that means that you looked at my whole body. And granted, we're out in public. You can't assume or hope that no one is gonna, look at you, whatever. But it just didn't sit great with me. So we stand up, we start singing, church is going, and this older couple came up, and they wanted to sit further into our row. And so I stepped out so they could get by, and I had brought a drink with me, like in a shaker cup. Well, they start to walk in, and the gentleman, he didn't know that my cup was there. He accidentally kicked it and it fell over. It was closed, so it didn't spill or anything. But right at that moment, this usher guy, or again, whatever his title is, he comes running up, and he grabs my arm, and he leans in, and he says, what a klutz, and I just immediately recoiled, and I was like, don't touch me, please. And he just, you know, he let go of my arm and he stepped back and we stepped into the row. And for a second, I thought maybe I had overreacted a little bit. But as I kept thinking about it, and I should have just let it go, I just thought about men in my past that just felt the freedom to touch or hug or whatever they wanted to do whenever they wanted to do it. And I'm not saying this man had any thoughts of, you know, being inappropriate, but to me, he had already been inappropriate. And I don't usually get these strong feelings about things. You know, some people said, oh, I just had this strong feeling that blah, blah, blah. I don't get those very often. And so when I do, I act on them, I guess. But it just made me think about, again, men in my past. And I guess I just wanted to say to anybody out there that maybe needs to hear it, I don't know, it is your right. If anybody, and not just men, but if anybody makes you feel uncomfortable, you have every right to say something about it. Nobody has the right to touch us, even if it's just a hand on the shoulder. You know, you didn't ask me permission. And I know that sounds funny, but again, you know, nobody else has permission to touch me. So it made me think of all that. And I do believe that there are people out there that they allow other people to do it because it makes them feel uncomfortable and they don't know what to say. Say something. If you're feeling uncomfortable, say something. And it doesn't matter if it comes off as sounding rude. I think the way that I told him not to touch me or requested him not to, I think that it did come off a little bit as rude, but I don't care. And my wife was like, he might be a lonely old man that just I don't care. His issues, if he has them, they are not my problem. What I take care of is me. And if you made me feel uncomfortable, sorry about it. You'll hear about it. So, again, if there's anybody out there, you've got my permission to tell whoever, whatever. So that's my piece. Go and be kind.